TsubakiSwagg, and I'm coming to you with my review of Log Horizons episode 16. The name will be in this general area as always, of course. But anyways, this episode was pretty straightforward and to the point, because of course in the last episode they show, at the very end, they show like the fishmen attacking the beach where Marie and all the people, well, all the like younger people that were training to build up their levels were at, and there were literally like at least 10,000 of them on the beach at one time, and they weren't going to be able to fight all of them off by themselves, so they found a time to retreat. And they relay this information to Shiro, and Shiro pretty much figures out why they were being attacked, because in the world of Eldertale, twice a year, there is a new Goblin King that is crowned. And if you defeat them, like if you defeat the Goblin King within a week, it'll stop it'll stop the Goblin King from being crowned, of course, and the Goblin territories won't be united. But since all the adventurers have been trying to pretty much make living in Eldertale livable, like just figuring out ways to get on with their lives within Eldertale, they completely forgot about this, and the goblins have crowned a new king and united, and there are literally probably 100,000 of them all together. I would say that's my rough estimate of about how many of them there are, and it's ridiculous. That was pretty much the whole episode, was them figuring out remembering about the Goblin King being crowned, and they didn't do anything about it because since everybody was trying to make living in Eldertale more reasonable, they completely were forgetting about taking quests from the people of the land. So since they weren't taking quests, they didn't remember it, and thus they are now being attacked. But they don't want to include the people of the land into it, because they also figured out that when adventurers die, of course, they go to the cathedral, but when they die, they lose their memories of the real world. But if people of the land die, they die completely. They don't come back. There's no coming back from that. Unless, of course, there are extenuating circumstances where they can save them before they completely die and their body completely dematerializes from their psyche and their anime. So, in that was pretty much the whole episode, was of course Shiro telling the people of the Round Table about losing their memories every time they die, and Krusty, of course, was like, well, just avoid dying then. That was pretty much his answer for it, which is reasonable, but it's easier said than done. So, in that was pretty much the end of the episode. It wasn't necessarily informative. It was more like actiony, and them explaining about the goblins and how many of them there are, and pretty much how they're gonna fight them. And a little side note, I didn't mention this in my last review of the last episode of Log Horizon, but there is something off about Rudy, and I'm almost positive I know what it is. I've heard things, but I want to find out for myself. But it has to be a reason why Azusa wasn't able to add Rudy to her friends list, because every time she tried to add him, it would glitch and it wouldn't let her add him to the list. So, and then when they showed his face, he looked like, I can't even explain the look on his face, but there is something off about Rudy, and I think something is going to happen to him in the future, because if you watch the intros and the outros, they show some stuff. And I had to learn that, because most of the time I would be the main one to skip through the intro and just not look at the credits at the end. But now that I've been watching them, they do some real deep foreshadowing. So I have a feeling that something is going to happen to Rudy. But I'm not absolutely sure, so I would love to hear what y'all think is going to happen. But this episode was pretty interesting. It was okay. It wasn't one of my favorite ones that they've done of Log Horizon, but it was informative, and it made things a little more understandable for why all this stuff is happening now, like with the goblins, and why there are so many goblins. but it's okay. I was looking forward to watching this episode to better understand why they were being attacked, and I got my answer. So in that, I think I'm going to wrap this one up for today. But as always, please, please, please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. And this is TsubakiSwagg saying adios.